Hey everyone, this is the Geeky Panda here on the Geeky Panda blog, Friday guys, with another video commentary. This time I'm going to be talking about long distance relationships. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory. I've had long distance wow, that's weird. I've had long distance relationships in the past. Granted, they didn't work out, but at the same time, there is great potential for them. It can work out, but it is a combination of certain things, and age is definitely one of them. Because I know a lot of teenagers nowadays like to be in long distance relationships, especially the congoers, because they meet up. They don't usually see the other person until the next con, maybe if they're lucky, or if they're really lucky, maybe even more than once a year. But with age, definitely comes, if you have a job, you can work, you can save up money, you can actually, and then later on, you can ultimately visit them, and they can visit you. But let's talk a little bit about it first. Now, long distance relationships, they're to me they are the high risk, high reward scenario. High risk is because long distance relationships, which can work out ultimately, but it's really hard. Needs a lot of things, including one of the most things is a lot of trust and commitment. Like once you start, this is like a regular relationship. You are committed to cause, scenario, and you have to have a lot of trust in that person. Now, when I say having a lot of trust, I don't mean let them do anything they want, including seeing other people as they date you or cheat or whatever. I'm just saying you're trusting them. You're giving them the benefit of the doubt for them. To make smart choices. Like to me, I have a lot of friends that are girls. It just is. Two of my really good friends are lesbians, so no problems there. But I always tell them if I'm ever in a long distance relation, I always tell them like, hey, I know I have a lot of friends that are girls, but I know my place type scenario, and it should be the same situation for you. You know your place, they know their place, it all works. So you got to have other things is definitely a lot of faith and commitment to it because again, this is like just take this like any other relationship, but more work because you have to compensate for distance. I know a lot of classic scenarios where you go to an anime convention, a comic book, or a video game con. You meet up with a person who seems really cool, really awesome, get to know them a little bit. You either like hooked up, hanged out, cuddled, whatever, and ultimately, decide like, hey, maybe we can, get to know each other a bit more. Because one thing about with any relationship is you need a foundation of a friendship to build upon. If you're going in, if you're going in balls deep into a relationship, it might not work out as well as it, could have been because you didn't establish a friendship beforehand. Because to me, in a long distance relationship, the one thing you have a lot is time, which can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Your worst enemy, of course, is you can't see them. You can't see them a lot, of course, unless you got a lot of money to shell out, or they do. And then the friend is in that time you can get to know them a bit. You can talk to them. There's several ways to do this, especially nowadays how we're so connected. We got we got the internet, we got our cell phones, we got video game systems. I know a lot of couples nowadays, if they're in a long distance relationships, they like to, at least, interact with one another. And one of the ways, other than, Skype or calling each other, is video games. Because you are still interacting with them as if they were playing right beside you. So, you gotta figure out a way to, to interact. And video games is definitely one great way other than, calling them, chatting, or Skype. So, just, just to get that through. So, like you met them at a con and stuff like that. Like the first few months, just get to know them. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about not seeming interested because you're just getting to know them. Maybe there's something that you don't like about them later on that you didn't see when you first met them. Again, first impressions are important, but it's what matters after is a key thing as well. So. Uh, I've had a few relations. Again, I've had a few long distance relationships in the past. Granted, they didn't work out, but some of them I'm still friends with. Keep contact with some of them. Again, like back then, I was younger. I couldn't go. I couldn't visit them as much as I wanted to, etc., etc. Now, since I am more established, I'm working full time. I'm still a college student, but I'm working. I go out to all these convention trips and stuff like that. I like to travel. So personally, there's no way, there's no reason for me to not visit them. I like if Granted, I'm not going to say like, hey, let's visit each other after 1 month of, the relationship. I'm going to, I am a little cautious, everyone has the right to, be a little cautious because, granted, there's trust issues involved. Sometimes we're afraid of rejection. It happens. So overall, do I think, there's other scenarios that it's like, they could have cheated on me and we had to, that it runs through people's minds. Are they cheating on me right now? What are they doing? But again, trust them. Give them the benefit of the doubt, Just, let them do their thing. They'll let you do your thing. Just, talk to them, chat, just, simple stuff. Just don't be too paranoid about things or don't try to control their life. Even though you're you're across the state, a couple of states, the country, or halfway across the world. Do not try to control their life because they could just easily drop you, like at the drop of a hat. It's like bam, done is done. So again, just watch out. You gotta, build the friendship, see how it goes, and then start dating. But take it slowly but surely. This is, in fact, a really good way for people who are kind of shy or kind of have a hard time trusting people because, again, there is there's no, you won't just experience this firsthand. But at the same time, if you're a person like me, I like having a physical relationship as far as I like going, hang out with them, cuddling, holding hands, you know, all that stuff. So eventually, I'm gonna be like, I was like, it's hard because you're not there with them, and they're not there with you at times, when you're stressed out, when you're angry, when you're sad, when you want to share this experience with them, it sucks. It's hard to get through, but that's the risk that you take. That's the high risk. Now, the high reward factor is, of course, ultimately leading into very good, positive, prosperous relationships, including, later on, maybe even moving in together. If it really works out that well, again, high risk, high reward scenario. You got a lot at stake here, kind of course, but again, the reward is great. So you are going to be putting in a lot of time, effort, and possibly money, but again, the end result is, might be something really worthwhile. So if you had any experience in long-distance relationships, please feel free to comment down with your experience, either whether you're for or against it. Again, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel here, and expect some more content of video commentaries, guides to an anime convention, opinions on heroes of cosplay, and more, including video reviews. So this is the Geeky Panda here on the Geeky Panda blog, signing out. And remember, stay geeky, my friends.